Hey guys, welcome back to the Unfiltered Gamer Board Game Spotlight. Today on the Spotlight is Torres by IDW. Torres is for 2 to 4 players. Plays in about a half an hour to an hour, and probably is about 10 and up. Ages 10 and up. Now in the game in Torres, you're going to be starting with determining how many players it is. Based on how many players, is how many of these little building tiles you're going to be getting. And you can look at the card here. So let's go ahead and say it is let's do a 3-player game. The first year, second year, and third year of the game is going to consist of 3 full rounds, and you're going to go back and forth through turns until you've ended all of your different stacks here. So we'll say it is year 1 with 3 players, in which case every player is going to get a stack of 2 stacks of 3 of these guys here. 1, 2, and then 2 stacks of 2. And you can set them however you want, but the idea is you get these just like this, all right? Now, on your turn, you're going to first go ahead and put the king somewhere. Let's put him here for right now. And we'll use these 3 characters here. As well as to set the board, you simply put one of these things on each one of these spots here, just like this. After all of these are all set up, everybody is going to randomly choose a spot in which to start with their knights. So the green will go here, purple will go here, and blue will go here. We'll go ahead and take yellow out of the game here. You can go hide over here. Now, after that is done, the king will be placed somewhere. The last player places the king. We'll just place the king right there. And you're going to have 5 actions per turn. So the green player can go ahead and start. We'll go ahead and give him his stack. So he's got his 3 and 3 and then 2 and 2. Just like that. Now, the first thing you do is the 5 actions, right? Now, one of your actions could be to place one of these things down. And the max you can place is 3 per turn. That's all you can place is up to 3. After you place one down, you can place one anywhere on the board that you like, and it can be in any of these areas here, as well as adjacent to, or basically any of the 8 areas. So, first of all, green is going to place, and he can place it right here, right next to his. Now, remember, you can never have any of these castle areas connecting. So you can never place a piece right here. They can only be diagonal just like that. That'd be fine, but it has to be connected just like this. So these guys are all 3 separate areas, just like this, right? And for every single one he places, that would be an action. So one action would be to place that there. A second action would be to place that there. And then a third action he could use to move his character, so he can move it up like that. Now, obviously, you can't move a character from a 1st story building to a 3rd story. It has to be from 1 to 2 to 3. But you could, for instance, place it over here and move it over here, as well as going from here down to the board. Another thing he could do, so if he's placed his first action and second action, for 2 actions, he can take another character and place it adjacent to any of his characters here. So he could do that, place that in there for 2 actions. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and he can have a final action. Another action would be to draw one of these cards. That would be his 5th action for the turn. He would be done. Now, all of these cards do different things. For instance, this one will let you place sometimes cards will let you place things like under one of your own dudes, so he can place it just like that. Other ones will let you jump. Some of them will let you move your character to any space on the board. They have a bunch of different cards, but he's going to do that, and we'll go on to the next character over here. This player also gets the same stacks. He'd get his 3, his 3 is 3, and 2 and 2, just like that. And he gets to start off with his 3, so he would go ahead and, let's see, he maybe wants to put 1, 2, 3, and he's done with, he can't place any more because he's done there. 4, and then he can draw his card, 5. And so on and so forth. This player, maybe he wants to do 1, 2, and then he gets, it's the same thing, right? 3, and 4, and 5, and then he's done. And then we move on to the next part of the round, where we take these next stacks here. Now, in a 3-player game, if, for instance, green did not place his 3rd structure, he could actually put this down on any of the stacks that contain less than 3 that are at the end. So, for instance, there's going to be 4 player turns in the first year, the first round, and he's got his remaining 3, 2, and 2, so he can place this over here on that first turn to let him use it for next time, right? Now he's got these guys again. He's got his 5 turns. Maybe I'll place one here, here. So there's just 3 right there. Now he can't get up here, unfortunately, but he's going to go ahead and draw 2 cards. And the play keeps going on like that, and they keep placing more and more. Like I said, it's just simple placement. The final action you can do is actually move your pieces across this track here. So every single player is going to get one of these markers here and place it over here on this track. And you're going to gain points. So after everybody has played all 4 of their rounds through the all 4 of their player turns for the first year or first round of the game, you're going to do scoring. And scoring is fairly easy. So I'll go ahead and place this like this. Let's just say that these have all been used. All 4 turns have been gotten through from all the players. Then you're going to get bonuses. The first thing you do is you're going to tally up any points you got from the board to begin with. So maybe he already used maybe 3 for his player turn, so you just used 3 points. So he already get to be ahead by 3. Then you're going to have to count. So you count the base by the height of all of these different buildings, and for every single knight there that is a different color, you're going to give them points. So this guy is on the 3rd level of a 4 area, so that's 4 times 3, which would be 12. So he would gain his 12 points just like that. Purple would gain 2 height by 3, so that would be 6 points for him. And blue's also got, we got 1 by 3, so he only gained 3 points. Just move it right there. And as the game progresses, everything stays here. Another little way of gaining points is this king guy over here. So for instance, on the first round, if you have a character or a soldier, knight, on the first section of the area in which the king takes part in, you're going to get 5 points. On the next round, the king will move based on the player who has the lowest score. So after everybody's taken their first round, gone through their first 4 player turns in the first round, the second round will take place, and the person who's in the lowest will decide where to place it. So let's say purple is the last person, so he'll go ahead and place the king right there. And for every knight, as long as he has a knight in this area here on the second tier, as opposed to the first in the first round and the third in the third round, he will gain 10 points. And finally, on the final round, the third round, the third year, the king will go here the king will basically go anywhere on here, and the person who's on the 3rd rung will get 15 points. So this is just a way to gain extra points, and multiple players can gain that. So if this was the second round, for instance, and you had a green and a purple player, just like this, then they're both going to gain that 10-point bonus, as well as both of them gain the points for this specific castle. Now remember, if you were to have the same guy, the same two knights on the same area, you're only going to get points for one of them. It's probably going to be the one with the highest amount of point total. So this guy doesn't do anything unless, for instance, let's say it was the first round, right, and the king was here, you would gain those 5 bonus points for this guy, and this guy here would gain your points for the castle, which would be the 3 by 4, which is the 12 points. And you're going to use this by going around the board. And after all the player rounds have concluded, then the people have gone around the board, and you're going to go around the board multiple times with multiple points. And as the rounds go farther, you're going to gain more points and more points, because these places are going to get bigger and bigger, and more of these things are going to be used throughout the game. And whoever has the most influence points, or the power points, what you want to call them, at the end of the game is going to be the winner. There are a couple of unique things that can happen throughout the game, which is these things here. You can actually use this as a variant by shuffling these cards and picking out one of them. And a player who has a certain configuration throughout the board, or maybe a person who has a guy in one of all 3 tiers, or 4 in a 2 tier, they can gain 40 points at the end of the game, so you can go for these bonuses as well as action cards that tell you, like, to place a knight is for 2, and moving a knight is 1. 1 is to place one of the castle blocks, so you can place a max of 3 on your turn. Buying an action card is 1, and using an action card is free. You can also move your knight a space up on the scoring track, and like I said, those are the actions of the game mainly. And you'll use these 100-point and 200-point tiles to show that you've gone around the board once, twice, and maybe even 3 times. Usually he'll stop right about there. As well as these cards here, which represent the different types of amount of these things you're going to get throughout the game based on the amount of players. And that is basically the idea for the game Torres. What I think about the game, this game is wonderful, so much fun. This is a stacking game that I like. It's got actions. Everything you do is going to be based off of skill. Very little luck in this game. Everybody has their own unique player decks, which are, where are these guys? They're down here, which I was talking about, the action cards, right? So this is a blue action card, and then you got the purple and yellow and green. So you'll be drawing from your own unique decks, and they all have different actions that you can gain as you pull from them. So it can cost you 1 action point per pull, but when you play them, they're free. And there are actions that are really, really good, like simply taking a knight that was already on the board and moving it anywhere you want onto the board to gain additional points, jumping over other players, or simply placing a castle piece on top of a space that already has a knight that you own. So, bam! Now it's a 4x4 instead of a 3x4. As well as you get additional actions on your next player phase. I mean, there's tons of really cool stuff in the game. But the idea is it works really well. It works really well because everybody has that opportunity to do well, and you can kind of predict a little bit as to how your opponents are going to play. And just because you're losing doesn't mean in the next round you can't suddenly pull out trump cards or make your base so big that you start getting more points. There's so many different variations to how you can make this game go well into your favor. And the good thing about this game is the more you play it, the better you're going to get at it. This game has a lot to offer in such a small package, and the components are great. I enjoy these stacking mechanisms. I enjoy pretty much all the aspects of the game. Even the king is fun to move around and determine where he's going to be placed and how you want to place your guys. It has everything I've ever wanted in a, basically, it's kind of like an abstract action point game. I don't know if I've never played Santorini, but it almost feels kind of like something like that, like you would have that feel to it. I'm not sure though. This game is an older one, and I never got the chance to play it, but I'm so happy I did. IDW did a wonderful job with Torres picking this game up. It was hands down one of my favorite action point games that I've played in quite some time. So I'm definitely going to say, definitely check out Torres if you haven't.